Right then, gents, let's talk about why is a estate agency broken?
Me, please.
You go first.
There's so many things, isn't there? I think departments for me is a real big one.
Yeah.
The fact that we now do things, just me or you looking after somebody, but before being passed from person to person to person, communication is just a bit of a killer.
I found with departments, seeing things from my previous position, departments are built around how to make a sales force as cost effective as possible. So it's kind of a business model of the profit and loss to try and get as much inexperience into different positions as possible, because inexperience is cheap. Where actually for the client, be it developer or vendor, the importance of experience on the front line, especially with everything that's gone on now, I think is just vital.
So how do you think our model works with viewings as opposed to the model of a normal estate agency?
I use this example from when I went to New York, and waitresses and waiters out there, it's their profession. And when you sit down and have a meal, it's an experience. They know everything about the menu, they know the ingredients, they know what's good, what goes, what complements. Whereas when you go to a restaurant in the UK, they're kind of almost not interested. They're not working for a tip. And in a estate agency, it's the same. It's kind of cheap labour versus experience and a profession and almost a qualification of your own experience. So I think with a estate agency, with viewings, if one of us three are doing a viewing compared to a £10.50 an hour part-timer on a weekend called a viewer, there's obviously a different level of experience that client is going to get, and hopefully reward that the vendor is going to get. Is that what you're finding?
Absolutely, especially when you're thinking at that point in time, the person selling is probably selling the biggest asset they've ever sold. It's not like selling even a car, which is expensive, on the Auto Trader or something. You're selling the biggest thing you've ever owned, and you're entrusting somebody who might be £10 an hour, never done it before, doesn't know the area, doesn't
never
know
been to the house before.
Opening the door, wondering what's in that room, which actually makes the biggest difference. And the fact that we're able to do it that way, we're seeing from doing that we are conversion from people viewing to actually making an offer is just huge. And because we've spoke to them to put the viewing in and qualify that buyer as well, we know that full seamless transaction is somebody who's actually going to see it through and be a good buyer for them. So I think for me it makes a huge difference.
And it's nothing to do with the part-time person doing the viewing. It's not their fault. They're just inexperienced in the role. It's more the model of departments, and I think that's why it's broken. It's broken because there's too many people involved taking different micro margins of the commission, when actually it just means a lot more to someone when they are their own business owner.
Do you think they're trying to do too much for too little?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're trying to have their best person, their best salesperson win the business, and then it just gets worse therefore after because of a lack of experience.
And that leads into the other thing that I think personally is broken with it, is a level of communication, because the communication is broken down between the departments and who you speak to next and so forth. But the way we do things is it's just that one person that has permanent contact with you, so you're not relaying the wrong message. You can get hold of that person when you need to. I think that's huge for me. Communication is key in everything, and this is making a big difference as well.
I think that's why the industry's got stuck in a bit of a hamster wheel, and the whole world has evolved with tech, with service, with attention to detail, with social media, and estate agencies pretty much the same. You take 6 photos of floor plan, you chuck it on Rightmove, and you wait for the phone to ring. And that's why it's broken, because unless that changes and people buy into the culture of how the world is now and trust, then it won't be around. It's almost a non-entity unless you add value, and Rightmove adds the value if you're just chucking photos online, really. So why would the client use anything more expensive than an online agent if they're not adding value? That's obviously what we've got to change.
Definitely.
The last thing as well on that, you mentioned moving with the times and so forth. And one of the big things that we do, and of course all the social media, isn't it? And I think we're seeing some people, other agents maybe try and do that, but I think the way we're being able to do it and being personal is a big thing for us as well.
Just being yourself. And anyone can do social media as long as they're themselves and not fake. That's the word, isn't it?
I think what I've seen, especially over the last 7 months with my own development and obviously the partner agents with Avocado, is how much time we've invested into understanding social media, and unless you understand it, you cannot use it properly.
People think it's just it's Facebook or it's Instagram, whereas Instagram is 5 different social media channels in one, and each one of those individual segments within Instagram needs a different type of content and a different type of message, whereas people just throw it all in one box of social media doesn't work in estate agency.
Blanket the same thing out everywhere. Absolutely. Got to have a bit of fun with it whilst being informed, don't you? And we're seeing that, aren't we? I think between us all.
Yeah, definitely.
Get some real traction.
So it's broken, but we're going to fix it.
We are. We're fixing it.